Okay, so we're going to go through this together. If you recall the video before last, I did on SDR4space where it was recording and extracting FM modulated basically voice and then sending to whispercpp, transcribing it, sending it to MQTT. And then you probably remember I mentioned that I would like to get the data into from MQTT to the Elastic Stack. So individual here helped out, and they have a nice example of going MQTT to Kibana. I ran it one time a little while ago just to get it set up. Now I've started fresh with a WarDragon box. So I have the WarDragon sitting there. I've literally installed just a stock DragonOS FocalX, the latest install again, so I could just go through, highlight some of the things that I've noticed that I needed to do additional, and then so we'll do like a two-part thing. I hope to get everything set up, the Elastic Stack here, and then I'll come back in another video and we'll look to combine SDR4space and the data coming in from MQTT into Kibana. So let's grab the repository here wherever you want. I'll just normally I put everything in user source, but so I'm not having to use sudo on everything. Clone it down into my downloads directory, and yep, we got everything we need. Come down, and I'm going to use some of these shortcuts here. There's a deb package. Now, granted, this is at the time of me recording this, could change, but I'll grab the Debian package, and let me see. Okay, sorry. So scroll down a little bit more. There's set up Docker's package repository. And I will do about the first 3 or 4 steps here, and you'll see why here in a second. But just copying and pasting. We'll set up the repository we're going to need for some packages that'll let's see. Now what gets set up here with this is actually slightly different than the last time I did it, but it may save us some steps here. Let's look in our downloads directory and we'll see if we can install the Docker desktop without complaints here. Alright, so complains about a couple things. So sudo app install 86 and map. Let's see what we got now. Yep, okay, this is basically what happened last time. We'll do broken install, and there's basically a bunch of additional applications. I probably just need to capture everything that's needed prerequisites before we start this, and then you wouldn't experience what I'm experiencing right now. But we should let me see. Under programming, we've got Docker desktop now. You don't have to have Docker desktop. I'm going to continue without signing in, skip. But it actually makes it pretty nice, like managing, starting and stopping the Dockers. And so I'll give it a minute. it's going to start up the Docker engine, and then we'll come back and finish this out. All right, I'm back. Not gonna lie, that took a few minutes to get started up, and then it popped over to this page. So we'll search like it talks about for Kibana and Elasticsearch. So Kibana, and then the ones that were used were 8.8.1. We'll pull that, and we'll pull Elasticsearch. We'll do the same. Not to say that you couldn't use other versions, but I'm just going with what I tried earlier and what the project page talks about. So we'll pull both of those. Okay, so we've got under images, we've got our Kibana and Elasticsearch now. Let's start the Elasticsearch. Just give it a name. We'll use the default ports. Take a look at terminal. Let's look at logs actually. Alright. So logs is running, or well, it's running. Because I did not see what was needed. We're going to save that password and this token. Add it to my notes here. All right, so we've got our, let's see, Elasticsearch, we've got our password, and we've got our token that we're going to need. Let's see, so let's look at files, user, share, Elasticsearch, config, certs. I'm going to right click, save this. We can save it to wherever, just, make sure you know where it's at. Okay. Yep. We can check, make sure it's good. We'll open another terminal window. We know that cert is on the desktop. So let's do desktop. And the password is from what we generated a little bit ago. All right, for search. Okay, so we're getting a connection, so that's good. Let's see, so start the Kibana container. So many windows. Let's start our Kibana. Give it a name. We'll just do K01. Default port 5601. Okay, let that run. Yeah, right there. So you give it a little while, it runs. It'll tell you to open up the Kibana interface. So I just hit Control and click. Let's get the token that we generated a little while ago. Okay. Username, Elastic, password. Okay. All right. We're into Elastic. I'm just going to explore on my own. Okay. So far, so good. So before we start the Mosquito service, because in the later video, I really want, I'll probably have SDR4space locally on this box, but I want to be able to send in from outside the local host. So if you recall, we'll edit like we did in the original video. What was it? Mosquito.conf, I believe. Come to the bottom of it. And now, granted, you're going to have to like set this up, for security, in mind. This is just listening and allowing anonymous. So just keep that in mind if you were to set this up production wise and outside of a VM or VPN, you would need to take more into consideration there. So we'll start the service and we can check the status. We see it's running. Okay. All right, so it wants us to go into that MQTT to Kibana. We'll make a hidden file called .passwords. And so Elastic, and again our password. Okay. There's some additional requirements. I'm just going to install it system wide. Sudo pip3 install -r requirements.txt. Installs two additional ones. The MQTT was already there, a particular version 1.5.1, but everything seems fine. So the publisher is what is going to essentially be SDR4space, what it's taking care of into MQTT. But for the purpose of this video, I will start the publisher as the project developer intended, just to demonstrate that this is working. So that should be publishing to the MQTT broker, and let's see. And then before we start the subscriber, we'll change the location of the cert, which is on the desktop. And then probably in here, MQTT topic, that's where we're going to change the topics to be what SDR4space puts into MQTT, hopefully. And now we should be able to start the subscribers. So the publisher is publishing stuff into MQTT. The subscriber is going to subscribe to that topic, watch for incoming messages, and then essentially send it on to the Elastic Stack. So now we have the subscriber. Now let's see, we can go back to our Elastic Stack here. I'm going to go down to Stack Management, Kibana. Oh, we want data views, I believe. Let's see. Yep, you should see MQT in the right. This is from line. Yep. So we see the MQTT data over here. I'm just going to wildcard it, MQTT. Call it MQTT test. And so now we should see we've got our fields. Come back up. Let's look at Discover. And so we see we are getting information in. So hopefully in the next video we'll get the SDR4space data into here. Ideally we get logstash working to grab as opposed to the Python script, but this seems to be working for now, getting information into here. All right, thanks.